Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and here we are now at the halftime between Michie and Boston College, and Michie is doing what I expected of them and dominating Boston College. You're wondering, how are they dominating the 25th ranked team in the nation? Well, here's the thing, turnovers. So we look in the game stats, Michie's up 65-21, both teams have 12 first downs, but Boston College has more yards overall. Though Michie has more rushing yards, Boston College has more passing attempts and more passing yards there. But Michie's been kind of even with their yards. 155 on offense, 155 rushing yards, 152 passing yards. They've been sacked 4 times while Boston College has been sacked 5 times. Boston College is 6 for 16 on third downs while Michie's only 3 for 11. No team's gone for it on third down or attempted a 2-point conversion. Boston College has a touchdown. Now in the red zone, Michie has 2 field goals. Both have had 3 attempts in the red zone though. But you see, that's the key, turnovers. Michie's only turned the ball over 4 times, while Boston College has turned the ball over 5 times. Well, 9 times, my bad. Michie's lost 2 fumbles, though they fumbled 4 times. Boston College has fumbled 4 times as well, but they've lost 3. And they've thrown 6 interceptions compared to Michie's 2. Michie's got 37 punt return yards compared to Boston College's 17. Boston College has 126 kick return yards. Then again, that happens when you've already allowed essentially 9 touchdowns and a safety. That's how the math would add up normally. And Boston College does have the total yards, but what's killing Boston College is the turnovers. They've punted the ball 7 times as well compared to only 4 by Michie. So Michie has had 6 penalties on them. They're having a double overtime causing them penalties though. But Michie barely leads the time of possession with 16 minutes and 3 seconds compared to 13 minutes and 57 seconds. And for Boston College, John Carroll, the backup quarterback, is 5 for 7, 112 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and he's only been sacked once. Meanwhile, Steve Nunez is 20 for 43, 151 yards, 1 touchdown, but 4 interceptions, and sacked 4 times. Meanwhile, we look at Michie. Brent Sanders, their starting quarterback, was injured after going 5 for 7 for 123 yards and a touchdown. And he wasn't even sacked at all yet. So he must have gotten injured on a running play? Yeah, probably a running play. Then Willie Burley, who was injured himself. Well, no. Tony Morris was injured during the game. He doesn't have a quarterback ready, so he's 1 for 4 for 25 yards. But he's got 2 interceptions, and he's been sacked twice. The third string quarterback, Willie Burley, is 3 for 6 for only 4 yards. Then again, you're up 65-21, so you don't really need to try to focus on throwing the ball. He doesn't have a touchdown, but he doesn't have an interception either. But he's been sacked twice. Ryan Hall from Boston College has 105 rushing yards though. Although basically everybody else behind him is kind of trying to shorten all those yards that he's gained. Starting with James George, who's got 2 attempts for -1 yards. John Carroll's got an attempt for -6 yards. And Steve Nunez, 5 attempts for -18 yards. So I'm pretty sure for these 2, most of them are sacks. So, meanwhile for Michie, you've got Brandon Sims, who's got 165 yards and 2 touchdowns on 14 carries. Sean Smith coming in and getting 14 yards on a carry. Anthony Scott's lost 2 yards on 2 carries. Willie Burley's attempted 5 runs and has lost 2 yards. Brent Sanders has attempted 4 runs and lost 7 yards. And Tony Morris, since we know he's been sacked twice, along with Willie Burley, so he's had 3 attempted runs. Meanwhile, Tony Morris had 6 attempted runs and -13 yards. So for Boston College, their leading catchers are Zach Butler and Eric Johnson. Leading receiving in yards is Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall's just doing everything for them. 90 yards. He's got 200. Well, he's got 195 total yards throughout this game already. But guys with catches are Zach Butler for 5 catches for 46 yards. Eric Johnson with 5 catches for 54 yards. Steve Bryant, 4 catches, 15 yards. Nick Young, 4 catches for 30 yards and a touchdown. Ryan Hall, basically the MVP for Boston College today, at 3 catches, 90 yards and a touchdown. Paul Harrell with 2 catches and 13 yards. Scott Dickerson, catch for 9 yards. James George, a catch for 6 yards. And Thomas Smith, who's on here because he dropped a pass. But George and Hall have also dropped a pass. Nick Young's dropped 2 passes. And Eric Johnson's dropped a pass himself. Meanwhile, for Michie, Michael Sapp leads the way with 2 catches for 38 yards. Got Greg Mackey with 2 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. Sean Smith has 2 catches but no yards. Austin Grimes has 2 catches for 29 yards. Louis White has a catch for 30 yards. And Eric Hardy's on here because he probably dropped a pass. Yep, he dropped a pass. And he's the only one on here that dropped a pass. The only ones still allowed sacks for Boston College are Troy Baker and Brian Hawkins. Meanwhile, for Michie, Matt Campbell, Mark Crenshaw, and Brendan Sims have all allowed sacks. But then again, they've done more running than passing, so Clint O'Connor leads in pancakes with 3. Scott Gibson leads Boston College in tackles with 11, 3 for a loss. Then we got Trey Simmons, who's done basically everything he can for Boston College. 7 tackles, including 4 for a loss, 2 sacks, a pick for 7 yards, a pass deflection, and has recovered a fumble as well. So yeah, you can't blame Trey Simmons for holding down Boston College because he's trying to help them win. Meanwhile, you got Michael Merrick, who's got 6 tackles. Michael Quinn's got 6 tackles, including 4 for a loss. Anton Neal, 5 tackles, including 1 for a loss, which was a sack. And, Scott Gibson's also forced 2 fumbles and recovered 1. And Michael Quinn's forced a fumble. Then we got Scott Dickerson, who's got 5 tackles. Keith Scott, who's got 4 tackles, all of them for loss, including a sack. Jason Pryor forced the fumble also, and he's also got 4 tackles. Leon McCoy's got 2 tackles. Zach Wilson's got 2 tackles, including 1 for a loss. Corey Odom's got 2 tackles. Same as Mark Vogel. Devin Thomas, including 1 for a loss, and he's got a pick as well. Scott Everett has a tackle. Lonnie Robinson's got a tackle for a loss. Zach Butler has a tackle. Nick Young has a tackle. Meanwhile, for Michie, their leader is Jamal Spurlock. Anthony Gutierrez has 5 tackles and a pick, which went all the way for a touchdown, and he's got 2 pass deflections as well. Jamal Spurlock's got a forced fumble, and he recovered it for 2 yards. And yeah, Michael Peterson has a pick 6 himself, 2 pass deflections as well. Rufus Ewing's also got 2 pass deflections, 4 tackles, including 1 for a loss and a safety. And a sack, my bad. Michael Peterson's got 4 tackles as well. Brad Bernard's got 4 tackles, including 1 for a loss at the sack. And he's recovered a fumble. You got Robert Hall, who's got 3 tackles, 1 interception, which he went backwards for a yard. But hey, not everything has to be a positive gain as long as you get the turnover for your team. Meanwhile, Zach Booker, he's doing a little bit of everything. He's got 3 tackles, 2 for a loss, 1 sack, and that's about it. But he's doing the best he can, though, for the team. You got Matt Prince, who's got 3 tackles and a pick for 44 yards, a pass deflection, and also a pick 6 as well. Roger Todd has 3 tackles, 2 picks for 123 yards, pass deflection, and 2 defensive touchdowns. So he's gotten 2 picks and 2 pick 6s. Trenton Lane's got 2 tackles, and he forced a fumble. Louis White's got 2 tackles. Jeff O'Neal has 2 sacks, which also equates to 2 tackles for loss and 2 tackles in general. Casey Fagan has a tackle. Mark Johnson has a fumble recovery and a tackle, including one which was for a loss. Brandon Sims has a tackle. Austin Bowman has a tackle. Nick Brown has a tackle. And Ryan Johnson is the last person on the list who has a tackle, and it's for a loss. Meanwhile, both John Carter and Bruce Ramirez Bruce Ramirez has kicked all 3 extra points, and John Carter's done all 4 kickoffs for Boston College. Meanwhile, Scott Gray has 10 kickoffs, 4 of them have been touchbacks, and made a 50-plus yard field goal, 2 field goals from 30 to 39 yards, and 8 extra points. So, 8 extra points and 3 field goals. So, Michie has scored 8 touchdowns and 3 field goals. Punting, Andy Vincent's punted 7 times and has an average of 47.4 yards, the longest punt of 55 yards, 1 inside the 20. No touchbacks and no blocks. Meanwhile, Andre Walker has 4 punts for 246 yards, longest of 60, 1 inside 20. And he's also had a punt be a touchback as well. Justin Berry has 3 kick returns for 68 yards, and Frank Purcell has 3 kick returns for 58 yards. Meanwhile, Michael Sepp has a kick return for 26 yards, Austin Grimes has 1 for 19 yards, and Andy Gutierrez has 2 for 36 yards. Meanwhile, for punt returns, Justin Berry has 2 for 17, Austin Grimes has 6 for 32, and Greg Mackley has 1 for 35. For box score, sorry about that, but as you see, scoring summary, Michie got started early and often. It was a shutout through the entire first quarter, with first the 52-yard field goal, a 41-yard run by Sims, and then that's when really problems for Boston College started. Pick 6, then Sanders got the touchdown pass, another pick 6, then the field goal. Boston College finally got on the board in the second quarter with the touchdown. Then they answered back up and scored again, and again, and again. Then Boston College scores again. Michie picks off a pass and returns it to the house. And they kick a field goal. And to end the scoring for the first half, Boston College got an 81-yard touchdown pass. By this point, Michie's got like their backups in, so it ain't too much to write home about. But that's going to be it for the halftime show. Now I'll be back with you for the post-game show.